Welcome back to another episode of the Perspective Podcast, unlocking the world's perspectives in just a few minutes. I'm Jeongmin Lucian Kim, your host, and today get ready for a worldwide journey as we explore the reasons why the US attacked Iran. On February 28, 2026, a major escalation unfolded in the Middle East as the United States and Israel launched coordinated airstrikes on Iran, dropping bombs in the middle of the country's capital, Tehran. According to BBC News, Israel deployed nearly 200 fighter jets and dropped more than 1,200 bombs within the first 24 hours, while the US forces struck dozens of additional sites. The coordinated strikes marked the beginning of a much larger regional conflict, now known as the 2026 Iran War. While news outlets often cite nuclear weapons as their primary cause, a myriad of causes and interests are intertwined. To fully grasp the complexities of this conflict, it is essential to consider the broader geopolitical context. Tensions escalated further in February 2026 when the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) issued a report expressing utmost urgency about Iran's nuclear program. The agency highlighted Iran's stockpile of roughly 440 kilograms of uranium enriched up to 60%. From the perspective of the United States, this meant that the biggest enemy of his closest ally was moving much closer to a potential nuclear weapons capability. Washington could then justify military action against Iran as both a defensive move to protect Israel and a preventable step to halt nuclear proliferation in a region that controls the majority of the world's oil. The economic situation within Iran was another contributing cause. Iran's economy had weakened severely over the past decades, largely due to U.S. economic sanctions. By late 2025, inflation soared above 40%. This economic crisis triggered large-scale protests starting December 28, 2025, described as the largest uprising since 1979. Initially focused on economic failure, the demonstrations evolved into direct challenges to the regime itself. The crackdown reportedly which had killed over 500 protesters. From Washington's perspective, this internal chaos presented a strategic opportunity. A weakened government may be more vulnerable to external pressure, allowing the US to justify intervention under the doctrine of responsibility to protect, or R2P. By framing the attack as support for the Iranian people against their oppressive government, the US could portray the action as morally legitimate and strategically timed. Another underlying factor was Trump's domestic political situation. Just days before the attack, the U.S. Supreme Court had ruled against his unilateral tariff policy, significantly undermining one of the administration's key economic policies. Additionally, Trump's political position was weakening due to various controversies, with his approval rate dropping to 38% by early March 2026. With the November midterms only 8 months away, Trump had limited time to regain political momentum. Amid such domestic instability, a sudden external conflict could divert national attention from internal political struggles, a phenomenon known as the wag the dog effect. Analysts also point to economic incentives. When tensions rise in the Middle East, regional powers often increase their military spending. According to SIPRI, Middle Eastern nations accounted for approximately 30% of global arms imports, with the U.S. supplying over 45% of those exports. These purchases sustained employment in the U.S. defense sector, key constitutionaries that supported Trump in states like Texas, Alabama, and Michigan. The conflict could also have direct implications for South Korea and the broader international community. Korea's economy is heavily dependent on imported energy, with more than 70% of crude oil sourced from the Middle East. A substantial portion transits through the Strait of Hormuz, the most critical energy choke point on the planet. Should tensions block tanker passage, international oil prices could surge beyond $120 per barrel, triggering a global ripple effect of rising transportation and consumer good prices. In conclusion, the 2026 Iran War is not merely an attack, but a complex puzzle of overlapping causes. The nuclear issue, the instability within Iran, U.S. domestic politics, and economic interests all intersected. Thank you for joining us on this episode of unpacking the reasons why the U.S. attacked Iran. Remember, you can always find more captivating short stories and enriching episodes right here at the Perspective Podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and keep embracing the world's diverse perspectives. See you in the next episode.